She's a moron. Just like her boss, an idiot. Donald Trump didn't tell people to take a vaccine before it was approved by the FDA, and he would never do that, and that's not how it works, and she knows it. But they exploit, they propagandize, and she was among the first in line. She butt in line in order to get her vaccine, just like Dopey did. They put it down, then they get in line first, then they take credit for it. Now they're telling everyone to take it and to get it. That's what we're dealing with. Look, the fact is, let's be honest. We constitutional conservatives, every level we meet, isn't it true that they're kind of stupid and nutty? I don't care how many degrees they have. I don't care how clever they sound. They're mostly stupid and nutty. In order to be a leftist, a democratic socialist, in order to vote for somebody like Biden, you have to have a few loose screws, right? A couple of marbles are bouncing around. Well, these are them. That's that. That's who they are. Now, did you know that if you're upset about what's going on the border, if you believe in following our immigration laws, did you know if you believe that raping and molesting little kids who are turned over to coyotes and others to come across the border so the parents could follow, that if you oppose that, there might be something wrong with you? Well, Joy Reid, who is a race baiter of the worst order, who lied about her posts in the past, but she was never canceled because she was homophobic. Now she's just, phobic about, I guess, white people, Caucasians. Joy Reid and Julian Castro, and that last name does ring a bell. They're on MSLSD last night. Now, first of all, what kind of a network which has any reputation for journalism, seriousness, or anything of the sort, would have Joy Reid as a host? And no, Joy, I'm not saying that because you're black. I'm saying it because you're an idiot. And you're a race baiter. And no, I'm not saying it because Julian Castro is Latino. I'm saying it because he is the same. Exactly the same. I'm saying it because of your ideologies. Because you're hate mongers. And I'm going to prove it to you. I want you to listen to Joy Reid. Why is it that every jerk who's not a Joy is named Joy? What's the other one on The View? Joy Behar and Joy Reid. Oh, they're such joys, these two. And then Julian Castro. Cut 3, go.
There's a poll out today. Reuters has a poll saying 22% of Republicans said in a poll this month they consider immigration to be the most important problem, up from 7%. I mean, it's back to the kind of the same thing. There is a lack of sort of compassion on the other side.
I see. So compassion is supporting what's going on in the border. We got to get this straightened out. The left doesn't support compassion. The left doesn't support humanity. The left doesn't support people. They are arrogant, ignorant, iron-fisted ideologues. Like most Marxists and neo-Marxists. You either toe the line or else. There's nothing compassionate about what they do to their fellow human beings. And I'll get into this later. Go ahead.
Just a fear that more brown people will come.
Oh, that's it. She got it. It's a fear that more brown people are coming in, ladies and gentlemen. I told you she's a racist and a race baiter. Everything now where you object. Wait a minute, you're going to destroy our voting system. Oh, you're a racist. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, you oppose the critical race theory. You must be a racist. Oh, I'm sorry. You support opening the schools. Yes, I do. Well, that's because you're a white racist. Oh, who knew? Who knew? You oppose mandating a national $15 minimum wage? That's because you're a racist. Whoop, I am? Oh, you are? Yes. You want to secure the border? Yes, I do. It's because you don't want brown people coming across. Whoa, okay, you're right. Yep, absolutely. Climate change and environmental injustice. You don't support destroying the capitalist system? I mean, you must be a racist. What? Hey. These are reprobates. They're as sleazy and unconscionable and evil and diabolical as it gets. I don't care if they're black or brown. I don't care if they're white. I don't care if they're men or women. I don't care if they're straight or they're not straight. I don't care if they change their genitalia or what they do with their genitalia. It's what's between their ears that troubles me and what comes out of their big mouths that trouble me. They make the most outrageous comments, and there they are on MSNBC, which is owned by Comcast, which allows people like this to spread this kind of poison each and every damn day. They don't care about brown or black people, because if they cared about brown or black people, they'd want a secure border, they'd want an orderly process, they wouldn't want a president, Mr. No IQ, encouraging little kids to come across the border and parents to send them, many of whom are being molested. Now, it seems to me Joy Brown doesn't care about brown people or black people or Julian Castro either. Go ahead.
How can the Biden administration manage that? Because the other side isn't providing a political solution or offering to get on board
Yes,
immigration.
actually, we are providing a political solution, and we're making a lot of suggestions. In fact, Donald Trump did it. He showed it worked. It's called securing the border. It's called having a fence that's impenetrable. It's called having an orderly process so people aren't sending their children across the border with coyotes. So to prevent the drug lords from sending opioids across the border. That's how this is supposed to work. We actually have Hispanic Americans on the border living in these communities who are very upset about what's taking place. Tell me, Joy, where do you live? Where do you live? Do you live in McAllen, Texas? Where do you live, Joy? No, she doesn't. Tell me, Julian Castro, do you live down there? No, I'm in San Antonio. Yes, you're in San Antonio. Your Honor, you're protected, you're vetted, you're held on on people's shoulders. Oh, the great Julian Castro. Go ahead.
They're just saying be afraid of these brown people.
Nobody's saying be afraid of brown people, you jackass. You're a disgrace. You're a disgusting disgrace. Nobody's saying be afraid of brown people or any people. How appalling. Go ahead.
Well, you're right, Joe. I mean, this is part of their playbook. It's something that we've seen.
Part of whose playbook, you moron? Unbelievable what's going on in this country. Unbelievable the comments that they make in this country. For years, I've made the point, and now the backbenchers are suddenly picking up on it and blustering through. Here in America, if we're anything like Joy Reid and Julian Castro or any of the others say, and I've said this on TV, I've said it behind the microphone, I've written about it, and I'll say it until I'm actually blue in the face. Can I be blue in the face, Mr. Producer? Is that against blue people? The idea that people of color, of all colors, of all backgrounds, of all faiths, of all physical types, would be sending their children to come across the border, would be willing to travel 1,000 miles to come into the United States, is absolute evidence that we're nothing like Joy Reid and Castro and the other clowns and demagogues and propagandists say we are. Otherwise, people of color would be leaving America to go to these nirvanas in Central and South America. They would be leaving in droves by the millions, trying to cross the border into Mexico, into Honduras, Guatemala. They'd be breaking down our barriers to leave our country. Tell me, is that happening? Tell me, has that ever happened? Is it ever going to happen? That's how sick Joy Reid and Castro and MSNBC and these other punks are. Absolutely sick. All their talk about racist America, all their talk about white supremacy, all their talk about racializing everything. The fact of the matter is they would never leave America for any one of these hellholes. And yes, I call it a hellhole. You know how I know they're hellholes? Because millions of people are trying to leave these hellholes. And Joe Biden says that people who are oppressed have a right to come into America. So they're being oppressed in these hellholes. They're refugees, we're being told. Even though 90% of them turn out aren't refugees, doesn't matter. So many people on TV who are given TV cameras and microphones in front of the Klieg lights sit there and trash their own country. We've never seen anything like this in our history. We have people sitting there trashing our country, lying about our country, doing the propaganda of all of our enemies around the world. They don't even need to infiltrate our newsrooms. Our newsrooms are there for them. So the Republicans want to stop brown people from coming in America. You understand? And yet, then, I guess it's fair to say that the Democrats want little brown kids to be raped as they try and come into America. That would be the logical follow-up, wouldn't it, Mr. Producer? I guess Democrats want little brown kids to be molested. I guess Democrats want their parents to send them across the border so they could be housed in freight boxes and in cages that were originally built by Obama, Biden. I guess Democrats want that, don't they, ladies and gentlemen? Because they're compassionate. This is a very sick ideology, and that is a very sick party. And any media corporation, whether it's Comcast that owns NBC and MSNBC, or AT&T, which owns CNN, or Amazon that owns the Washington Post, or whoever owns the New York Slimes and so on, to push this kind of anti-American, flat-out, vile lies about the American people is a disgrace. And let me remind Joy Reid, and let me remind Mr. Castro, neither of them who've ever served in the military or in the police force and helped this country, that we have a hell of a lot of men and women overseas defending brown people, defending people of color, defending Muslims, as well as other people. How do you account for that, Joy Reid? How do you account for that, Castro? You're sick bastards. That's the bottom line. I'll be right back.